This is how immersive lighting and sound can completely transform your escape room, and today we're going to give you some tips and tricks on how you can upgrade your special effects. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Puzzle Creative YouTube channel for escape room owners. Now, since we uploaded our last video, we've been pretty busy updating our host room at our East Memphis location from this into this. We also opened a new room at our East Memphis location called Monsters from the Abyss. But now we're back, so let's jump into it. Lighting and sound design are two of the most important elements for true in-room immersion. Good lighting and good sound can truly make or break an escape room. It both subconsciously and consciously changes your player's overall mood and enjoyment. For example, here's what this video could look and sound like. It's missing the depth and interest that keeps people engaged without them even knowing it. Without the background tracks, sound effects, and interesting lighting, the whole thing just feels flat and boring, no matter what the content may actually be. You don't want people to go into your room and come out saying, yeah, it was good, but you want them to say, everything about it was awesome. So let's start with sound design. From the moment a group of players enters your room, there should be an ambient soundtrack playing to help immerse them in the environment that you've created for them, even before the clock has started. Now, an ambient track doesn't necessarily have to be music. For example, if they're in an old creepy house, you could have thunder and lightning, or distant ghostly screams, or creaking floorboards. If the players are stepping onto a spaceship, maybe beeping buttons from the control room, or ethereal synth tones, or the engines of the ship humming from far away. Your soundtrack should always match the tone and pacing of what it is you want your group to be feeling in that specific moment. For example, if they start the room by investigating an apartment, that's not very high stakes, so you don't want a super intense soundtrack to be playing there. But when they open a hidden passageway and discover a room covered in blood, then it's time to up the stakes by playing a more intense or fast-paced soundtrack. Now, your soundtrack should always be just loud enough to not be overbearing, but always be present with the group. It's also a good idea to balance all of your other audio tracks around the level of your soundtrack. So, if you have a jump scare moment, you definitely want that to be louder than your music soundtrack. But if you have, ambient sounds or a confirmation tone when a group opens something, that's good to be a little bit quieter. Confirmation audio when a group completes a task or opens something is incredibly helpful to keep the players moving in your room. You don't want them standing around for several minutes wondering if they opened something. You want them to hear the tone play and look around for what they opened. Now, confirmation sounds can be the same sound throughout the whole room like this, or they can vary with everything that a group opens. So if they open a creaking door, you can play a creaking audio like this. Another great method to upping the immersion in your room is directional audio. Instead of just having speakers overhead that play all of your sounds, you could embed other speakers in props or walls. For example, if you have a ticket booth where there's supposed to be somebody inside giving instructions, place a speaker inside of there, that way it sounds like there's somebody actually talking. If you have a prop that players interact with multiple times throughout the room, place a speaker inside of that prop, that way the confirmation tones actually come from inside of it. Directional audio is a great way to break up the room and really help with immersion. There are tons of programs and asset libraries out there for audio. Premiere Pro and Audacity are both great for sound building and sound design, and come with tons of built-in effects that you can add to all of your tracks. Adobe Audition is great for cutting and recording audio. In fact, it's what I'm using for this video right now. Envato Elements is a subscription-based asset library full of just about every sound effect and music track you can possibly imagine. Adobe Stock and Audio Jungle are credit-based programs, meaning that you only buy the tracks that you want and you don't have to pay a monthly subscription. If you're looking for something to run and control the audio in your room, BrightSign makes a top-of-the-line audio controller. If you're looking for a video on how to set up your BrightSign player, we have one that you can watch right here. Now, we aren't affiliated with these companies in any way, we just really like their products and use their stuff all the time. Like audio, good set lighting will help players immediately buy into the world that you've created for them. In order for lighting to be fully immersive, it should be dramatic, stylized, in theme, while still allowing players to see everything that they're working on. It should be integrated into your room not only in brightness and color, but in the style of the fixtures themselves. For most settings, fluorescent lights overhead isn't going to work, but decorative sconces, clean strip lighting, or light emitting from a window as lightning flashes is a great way to help up the immersion. Set lighting, especially when dim or dark, can massively increase the cinematic value of a room. Long shadows create depth and interest when looking around, dark corners can make even the smallest of rooms feel big, and color temperature can either help the room feel warm and inviting or cold and uncomfortable. Now, quick crash course on color temperature. It's essentially how white your bulb is. It's measured on a scale of around 1,000 degrees Kelvin to around 10,000 degrees Kelvin, with 10,000 being more blue or cold looking light, and 1,000 being more warm or orange looking light. Right around 4,000 degrees Kelvin is going to be considered neutral, and it's going to be closer to a true bright white. Mini spotlights like this one are a great way to highlight important areas of the room and can help with customers that complain that it's too dark to read something in the room. They also mostly disappear when mounted to the ceiling of a set. Other lighting elements like flicker bulbs or colored lights are a great way to contrast one area of a room from another with more standard lighting. A great way to highlight the inside of cabinets or props is using strip lighting that doesn't have bare LEDs, like this one. You can find most of these lighting products on Amazon or any hardware store that sells lighting. So there you go. Be sure to keep these tips and tricks in mind when writing, designing, and building your next escape room. All of the products and softwares listed in this video will be in the description below for you to check out. And for more information like this, be sure to check out our conference going on this September called PuzzleCon. We're going to go into this topic and a bunch of other topics with practical hands-on workshops. And be sure to like and subscribe.